Um, so I love the idea that I've got that kind of control. I want to move into the audio visual space.
Yes.
And a lot of people, when they think of it as audio visual, we think of, okay, home theater.
Right.
Is it more than just home theater?
Yeah. Unless you have a dedicated home theater room, a lot of people are, wanting to do surround sound in their family rooms or just a rec room where they can have games as well and do Xbox. So it's a lot more than just your home theater. You want to make sure, on your main floor, you can actually hear the TV sound in the kitchen.
Right.
So, that does require some, different wiring if you're building a house.
So where have you seen the biggest challenges when it comes to putting in any system, whether it be the smart technology in the home or putting in the defense system or putting in the audiovisual system? What are the biggest challenges for you when you go into a home or for your team? What seems to be the biggest?
The biggest challenges for us, especially with existing construction, is obviously getting the wires where they need to go. Customers that are building a house, we always try to get in the right infrastructure.
Right.
But the biggest challenge is, okay, if you have to cut the drywall, that means you've got to paint.
Right.
So we try to design solutions where we minimize the problems we create in the home for repairs, for the painting and the drywallers. But that's the biggest problem we have is, wishing we had got in early in the construction process. A lot of people think about technology after they've built their home and don't realize that there needs to be an underlying network infrastructure there to support the cooler things. But that being said, we want, realtors, like we appreciate Linda inviting us and you, because we want realtors to know that you can make your home smart. Like, think of it like a kitchen upgrade. You can do a smart home automation upgrade, and that's going to add value to your home.
Right. So, you just opened the door for me to talk about new homes.
Yes.
Right. And so we have a lot of builders who watch the show and who look at the show and listen to the show, eat by podcasts, etc. Talk to me about the importance and how you work with a new home builder in terms of getting all that smart home technology in.
Right.
Talk to me about how that process works.
Right. So we try to get in as early as we can, even at the design phase. We try to work with the designers to get in right from the start, because, there's decisions that can be made. Do you want full house lighting control, or do you want, just control of some lights? As homes mature, as we go down the path into the future, most homes are not going to have those banks of wall switches on the wall. You're just going to have a keypad that has, scene control of your lights. So you hit morning and the morning lights come on.
Right.
But getting in early allows us to get the wiring in the walls for the touch panels, for the cameras, for good Wi-Fi. So that's why we would like to get in early, pretty much right after the electrician. So think of smart home automation as like another trade that comes in, a low voltage trade.
Okay. So what we're saying to everybody out there, by the way, is what we're saying to you is, if you're building a new home and you want smart technology, you want it, or even home security, even probably the setting up of your theater room.
Yep. You want
to get in early.
Yep.
You heard it from the expert. Get in early, okay, and treat it as your electrician or your plumber or any other vendor that comes in that needs to do the pre-work for the home.
Right.
Get that in as early as possible.
Yep.
And here's the thing, I guess, Michelle, that I'm thinking of for people, and that is, you can set all this up, right? And maybe not use it, but have it ready in case you want to turn it on.
Right.
And maybe you can address this a little bit, because all of a sudden I had this epiphany in my head as I'm talking to you.
Okay.
And I know that scares you because that's not part of the script. But
it's okay.
But I'm thinking to myself, even if you don't use the technology, there's the value for the future sale.
Right.
That it's available.
Right. And I think studies have shown you get an extra 5% on your home value if there's some automation features. And, if you're going up against another home
Right.
and your home has the
Autom-
automation,
right.
people are tending, the people that aren't afraid of technology, and that's another
Right.
common misconception, is technology is simple to use if you choose the right custom integrator.
Right.
And the reason why people have such bad experiences is they've just picked the wrong integrator.
Right. And here's what's interesting. I remember this is back in 2002.
Okay.
And we decided we were going to take advantage of a smart home, right? While we were building it. Okay. And so this is 23 years ago. And it was a system that was a letter of the alphabet, somewhere between R and maybe P. And so we had this system in there. And at that time, it was so complicated to figure out how we make it work, because it was just so much. I mean, we had this huge entire panel, and it was so much. Not so much today, right?
Technology's come such a long way. It's my 83-year-old father can use it. It's, pick your room, pick your source, on. And now with, the way of the future really is, what's coming is AI.
Right.
So if anybody wants to look at Josh AI, you can have, it's far more advanced than, your Alexas or your Googles, or, it's responding more to like normal voice commands. So
you can actually make the house be like our dreaded or beloved Alexa, however you feel about it.
Correct, but with it's coming, like, it's a lot more advanced now. So it's not gonna, you don't have to have the cryptic text to say, turn up my shades to, So we've been playing a lot with Josh AI.
Wow. So, okay, first of all, I'm into AI. That's the first AI. Well, there's probably a bunch of them I don't know, but I've never heard of Josh AI. Is that specific to smart homes?
Yes.
Or
Oh,
it is.
And it integrates well with Control 4. Yep.
So it's specific to the whole thing. It's that Josh AI is there.
Yep.
And so I can just, instead of, and I think we've seen these commercials, right? I didn't know if they were really real or not.
Yeah, it's kind of scary where the world is going to be headed. But then that brings in, we're going to need some better security for your home in terms of network infrastructure. I mean, you don't want these thieves listening in on your conversations with Josh. So, I think education is very important for homeowners to, again, pick the right integrator, because you're going to open up yourself to some other issues.
Yeah, because I shouldn't be able to walk in your house and control your house with my voice.
True.
Right? I mean, I shouldn't be able to, right? Because I mean, the worst thing that could happen is you get a technology smart criminal who understands where he's at, and then all of a sudden goes, well, now I can use my voice to control everything else, right? So there's got to be some security challenges there as well,
for sure.
And so I'm sure that they're working on voice recognition, what voices to respond to and what voices not to respond to.
Yeah, it can learn accents. It's kind of cool, the technology. Yep.
That's so cool. I had no idea that it can actually learn the accents as well
of the people. Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah,
I do know. It's interesting. I do know with Alexa, which I'm not promoting, but I have a bunch of them in my house in different rooms. Just self-admitting. I do know that it recognizes the difference between my voice and Linda's voice.
Yep.
Right. So like if she talks to it and tells it what she wants to do, it does what she wants, and it recognizes my voice and does what I want. So we have two different things on the same Alexa. I'm assuming that's kind of where this Josh AI is going, or is right now.
Yeah. Like Josh AI is like the Ferrari of Alexa.
Okay. People are gonna clamor, or they're gonna chime at me and going, well, oh man, this has got to be tremendously expensive. Talk to us about the expense. You're shaking your head. No.
I mean, compared to, know, a cheap Amazon puck that you can get. Yes. But big picture, this is your lifestyle. So you either want it to be an easy road, or you can make it a little clunky. But it's not break the bank type of
You don't have to. I mean, but you could go like, I want to jump into the audio visual systems, like the theater, home theater, right? We have a mutual friend who spent hundreds of thousands of
how could I forget? Yes.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars on a home theater system, which I have gone to see, which I will admit is incredibly impressive.
Right.
And you can spend that kind of money on an audio home theater.
You can.
But you don't have to get really good sound.
No.
Where do you find people when they're building their home audio theaters? What do people really want? What is it that they're really looking for in those systems?
And it really depends on the person, the family. You know, are you wanting your theater for the movies? Do you want the sports? Just more for sound? So we have customers wanting to first spend between $10,000. We've gone up to $350 on a theater. So there's such a wide range, and you really have to understand, you know, a lot goes into planning a theater, and you've got to understand the family's lifestyle. If the kids want to play Xbox, you've got to leave more room at the front, you know, for them to do their playing. You know, is sound important? Some people can't hear the difference between a $200 speaker and a $1,000 speaker. So why are you going to install a $1,000 speaker? There's no need. And the same goes with, you know, the picture on the wall. You know, prices keep coming down on the TVs. Like you can get a 98-inch now, you know, very, very cheap. And then you've got to look at screen quality too. You know, do you want to be able to see the eyelashes on the person in the movie? I do.
Yes. I want to see where they missed a spot shaving.
Yes. And you can do that.
It is. It's amazing. And I know, like for us, we have our home theaters in our living room basically, and it's not anything elaborate. The picture was the big deal for us, right? And it was having, you know, being able to get to that 4K quality picture, because the room is accessed by everybody because it's in the family room or the great room, however they want to term it. We knew we didn't want a whole bunch of speakers, right? So we needed a sound system that would produce what we wanted, because Linda wants to feel the floor rumble, right? She wants that. She wants that rumble, and that it was, and yet we could get, you know, great sound at the same time. If it was me, and I generally don't get to pick and choose these things. But if it was me, I would have more of a surround sound type of experience where they got the rear speakers and, you know, probably add some side speakers. And if I could, after seeing some of the things that you guys do, the ceiling speakers, right? And there's even floor speakers that you can put in.
You can even put subs in, you know, your HVAC vents. And, you know, if you're building a house, you know, a lot of people don't like wall acne, or ceiling acne. So you can get speakers that actually have like a drywall skim coat over them. They're called like small aperture speakers. And for a really modern house, those are pretty sweet.
Those are pretty awesome. Yeah. I think the other thing that I've noticed about technology in terms of home theaters, and probably all of it actually now, and you can address this, because I think, you know, early on in the old days, it was a lot of wires that you could see. Even the best they did, there were still wires that you could see.
Tack it to the carpet.
Or put the carpet over the top of it, right? Or they took the toe molding off and then tucked in toe molding, put the toe molding back on, right?
Or track molding up to the TV. Like we've gone in some $1 million homes where literally there's track molding up to the TV because they didn't plan and put the power at TV height.
Right.
That's inexcusable.
Yeah, but now you don't. Now, I mean, it's like you guys go in, you don't see a wire.
No.
And yet it's wired.
Yes. Yep.
That's amazing to me, because everything looks so clean now.
Yep.
With that had to be a change for the industry, for you too, right? Is that as this industry has grown, it's been, how do we hide the wires? How do we get it so that it's smooth? How do we drop the wires into the wall? How can we make the most? And I think I want you to address this for sure. How do we create the minimum amount of mess?
Right.
Because a lot of people think, if I have you do this, you guys are going to leave a messy thing, but that's not true.
No, I mean, but depending on how much, we've had customers ask us to cut up their entire home because they bought, like, there's some builders out there that I think just are not educated that, customers want some hardwired connections for their office, for their TVs. There's no excuse for TVs to have to run off Wi-Fi. Why not have a wired connection?
Right.
So we've had to go into, multi-million-dollar homes and hack them up pretty good once the drywall's up.
Right.
But ultimately, with the finished product, you're going to be much more satisfied. I mean, it's a little bit of a pain, but all renovations are a pain.
Right.
So, I mean,
Well,
we clean up our mess
Right.
very well. It's
Right,
probably going to be cleaner when we leave than when we got there.
Yeah, but I think that just goes to your point of, if you're building the home, get in there early, because then you can avoid any of that. Yeah, there's going to be some, but when I've looked at some of the projects that you've done online and some of the things that you've done, even when you've had to cut into the wall and do some things and drop wires and pull wires through and all that type of thing, it's not like you're leaving the home in a really bad place. It's actually, you go, like you said, actually, it's almost a little cleaner than it was before. Yeah. And yet you're probably gonna have to do a little wall repair, right? That's probably gonna have to be done. And that's not what you do, but that's going to be part of it. But ultimately, you're going to be satisfied at the end of it. Talk about some of the things that people have said when you've installed some of these things. What have people said about the work that you've done, and what are some of the biggest compliments that you've done?
Well, what gives us great happiness is customers calling us back or emailing us and saying, "Oh my goodness, I thank you guys every day. You've created, such a fun living environment for us. Things are so simple. We wish we had done this sooner."
The simplicity part of it.
Yes.
I think we just don't associate the technology with the simplicity.
Right.
And I mean, it's supposed to be, but I think whenever people hear technology, especially, and I'm not picking on you folks who are older, okay? I'm not. But sometimes as we age, we feel a little more challenged by technology.
Right.
What you've come in here and said to us today is, actually, if technology is done right in your home, it should be simpler for you to use.
Right. Right. And for the ones that don't know how to use a cell phone, there's always, voice control. But you want the voice control that's a little, better than the Amazon, Google DIY stuff. But, it's, if you can use a cell phone, you can use a home automation system. I mean, it's literally clicking pictures to, turn on things you want.
That's pretty cool. We've done our time. It's gone fast. It always does go fast. People, when they sit in that chair, they go, "Oh man, this is going to take forever." Actually, you've already done it.
Okay, good.
You've already done it, and you've done great. Tell people how they can get a hold of Synergy Integrated Systems.
Yep.
If they want to get more information, or if they want to bring you in, because you also will do an analysis for them too, right, of what the possibilities are.
Yep.
So go ahead, tell them.
So we do a, free in-home consultation. We've just opened up a new showroom in North Raleigh. You can go to our website, www.synergy.com. You can see all the services we offer. We have a group of 7 techs right now. We'd always send the same guys to your house. And, what we do is pride ourselves on support after the install.
That's awesome. Do me a favor, because that was a lot in the .com. Can you give them the .com again?
www.synergy, synergysys.com.
Perfect. That was awesome. Michelle, thanks for your time today. This was a lot of fun. I hope it was not nearly as torturous as you thought it might be.
No, it wasn't that bad. Awesome. I was expecting much worse.
Oh, no, it's never that worse. Folks, it's a show. You know what I say to you every week? You had a lot of choices. You chose us. Thank you so much for joining us. You know what? Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Watch us on the YouTube channel. And wherever you listen to the show via podcast, give us a 5-star review. Tell your friends. And, even tell people that maybe you don't like, that it's a great show for them to listen to. As I say to you all over the world, you know what that is. Ciao, everybody.